Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Google Classroom and Google Meets training. Today, we will be exploring Google Classroom and just how we can navigate teaching in this new frontier of virtual instruction, but also how we can use it in a face-to-face classroom setting. I'm Chris Chaplin, the secondary reading coach, and this is...
I'm Heather Eison, the elementary math coach.
And we are excited to be here with you today as we explore Google Classroom. During the training, feel free to type questions in the chat. Our producer, Kelly, or I, or Heather will be helping to answer questions as we go through the training. And like I said, ask questions along the way. We're all learners here, and this is new for us as well as for you and our future students. So that's kind of exciting that we all get to be learners together. All right, so I wanted to first go over what our learning target today is. This is our goal to try and master by the end of this session, although we know we'll be all practicing a lot in the coming weeks, troubleshooting and learning as we go.
So today, supporting each other and our teammates and our colleagues in this together.
Absolutely. So today we are learning that you can navigate Google Classroom's basic functions to facilitate clear communication of students in face-to-face and virtual learning situations. So remember, it's hard for me to think too, this isn't just for virtual learning, but this is a tool that you can use in the classroom so we can go paperless, we can have less contact, but kids can still interact with each other in this digital environment. So to support that learning goal, there are some success criteria that you need to be able to master to be able to get to mastery of that learning goal or that learning target. So let's go over those quickly. The first one is I can create and individualize a new Google Classroom by making the name, a class description, choosing the subject, and editing the header. That'll be the first simple steps we'll be going through. And today is really just about the basics of Google Classroom. I believe later in August, there might be a PD where we'll go in greater detail about the little bells and whistles. But today, we just want to get you started.
Getting you oriented to the features and how to navigate. Of course, this will take practice. You won't be experts by the end of the next 2 hours. We're still learning some too. But it should give you hopefully a decent comfort level and familiarity that you can revisit as you're starting to get your own classroom set up.
All right, our second success criteria is I can navigate the different tabs in the teacher view, including the stream, classwork, people, and grades. Third one is regarding announcements in the stream. I can create, share, add, and post. You want to also be able to invite students to your classroom. That's pretty important, wouldn't you say? And then you're going to create, and this is the meatiest section of today's professional development, where we create assignments and topics, materials, questions, and quizzes. And then finally, we're going to briefly give you a peek into how to run a Google Meet session, although there will be more detailed trainings on that at a later date.
Okay, so as you're looking at the success criteria, if you are already a user of Google Classroom and you feel like looking at this criteria, you have these basic skills already. We just wanted you to keep in mind that'll help you figure out if this training meets your needs and is right for you. And if you're watching the recording, if this is something you should continue watching. Also want to let you know we've built in the design of this as we work through each of these criteria times where we're going to show you how to do it and then give you a few minutes here today on your side of the computer to be able to then go try these small chunks, just like we with our students, chunking our learning.
We know that people learn best through experience and hands-on projects. So this isn't just a lecture session, but we'll talk and then you'll practice and we'll talk and you'll practice and we'll answer questions as we go, just like a teacher does or should do with students.
The great option about this recording is that you'll also be able to go back and view it later to find a reminder, quick view. Oh, I don't remember how to go and make my announcement. I can come back to this PowerPoint. Great feature. In the recording, I can watch it live, or in the PowerPoint we'll share with you. If I wanted to know the beginning of how do I make an announcement again, I can go find that on my success criteria. All of these colored slide labels are linked, so I can pop right there to be able to find some reminders of what I need. So just a heads up on how you'll be able to use this recording and this PowerPoint at a later time, because I know as you're learning this and it's something new, it's going to be a lot of information with time to practice. but it is a lot in one sitting. That way you're able to refer at your convenience and as frequently as you need to revisit it till you feel comfortable with the platform.
So the first thing we're going to do is set up Google Classroom. So right now, I'd like you to open a new tab. And if you don't know how to do that, if you go to the top of your screen and press the little plus sign, that'll give you a new tab. You want to go to Gmail. Here's my Gmail. And to get to Google Classroom or any of the Google products, you go to these 9 little dots. And there you have the full suite of Google's products. Lots of good stuff. I haven't used more than half of it.
I haven't either.
Well, all we're worried about today is Google Classroom. You see that little green chalkboard with the person, the yellow border, and I click that.
I also want to let you know, since a lot of us I know are working off of Chromebooks right now, and your at the bottom of your screen or on the left of your screen, wherever you put it in your dock there is that same Google Classroom icon, but you can also directly access it there, just like you can click on the email icon or the Chrome. So if you have a Chromebook access that a lot of us work off of, you can also go directly there.
Yeah, again, the symbol, the icon for Google Classroom is this. If you have a Chromebook, you should see that down at the bottom menu bar of your screen.
Defaulted.
Yes. All right, so back to my Google Classroom homepage. Now you can see I already have some classrooms set up, some that I'm part of, like Melissa Hines from Stark, and I ran the art class at the middle school during the shutdown. And then I have one for the teachers I coach, but I'm going to make a new one today, right before your eyes. So to make a new one, you go to the top right-hand corner and click the plus sign. Now, when your students are joining your class, they'll click join and put in a code. That's one way you can get them in. But for our purposes, we are creating a class.
We're the teacher. We've got to make the course.
Yep. So click create class.
And we are showing you this here if you want to stay on the screen and follow along with us. And then we're going to give you a second to do it. So if you're not one that's comfortable going between tabs to do this while you're listening.
Heather, should we give more than 1 second? I think it should be maybe 60.
Okay, maybe 59.
Okay.
All right.
We negotiated that. Very good.
So,
all right.
So that we're going to demo it and then give you a chance. So whichever way you're comfortable with, you will have time to try this if you would like to see it first before you try it.
I'm going to call this class Brave New World because that's the one that we live in right now. The section is 000 because it's a Brave New World. Subject is huh. And away we go. Now, you don't have to fill out all of these things. It does require the title of the class. So now I click create. And here I am. Now, based off of my title, Google's AI has determined to give me a header that has flags of different countries around the world. So that's kind of cool. But I want to personalize it for my options. So I'm on my classroom. I'm going to select theme to change this yellow header to something that more meets my need. So I'm going to go through and you can just browse all the options you have. There's a lot of options based by subject, math, science, and art, popcorn. That's art. Sports, and so on. I'm probably just going to do for now this one because we're talking about technology. So now you select your class theme and it updates on your screen. Well, let's go back to our tab. And
we've done that.
We've done this one. So now we want you to go ahead and make your class
and change your header.
So go ahead and take a minute or two. We'll check back in 50 seconds to see how you're doing. Ask questions along the way in the chat, and we'll get back to you in about 45 seconds. So now we are inviting your students. Now, we caution you not to invite your students until you've fully set your classroom up, because immediately when you invite them, it'll send them an email and then they'll be able to gain access to it. And you want to make sure your classroom is finished. So today, if you have a colleague that would be willing to be your student, you can type in you can invite a teacher as a student today. And today, Heather and I will play that role for each other and show you what that looks like. At the top of your screen, you'll see this button called People. Go ahead and click People. And you can see you can add a co-teacher. So if you have an ESE teacher that comes in and serves your students, you can add them to this class. If you have a para, you could add them to this class to support you and so they can support your students. But for now, first you want to add in your students. So I'm going to add in Heather, my partner in crime here, and Kelly, who is our producer today. And I'm going to invite them.
If you want to show how a student would look, you can use my kiddo's name. Type in Caden.
And I'll do Caden as well.
Just so that you can see, you can search, and the students' email addresses will automatically pop up too. Just so that you're not thinking it's only from a teacher option. You can search the whole district for the student names as well. Yeah,
you can see any student that has those letters in their name. So we'll add in Caden. He's got a lot of homework tonight. But he would probably do it.
His mom's a slave driver out here.
I hear it. All right. So we have our students. Now it's grayed out because they've been invited, but they have not accepted their position in the class. So I'll let my people join, and then you'll see that they'll become live in the class. Ms. Gates, of course, everything you do today can be deleted, and we'll show you that as well as we go along and add things. You can delete everything. So this is pure practice.
And Ms. Gates, if you need to add me as your sample student, if you don't have a colleague right there in the room with you, I will do my best to be your sample student while we're also running some of this with a possible delay, but feel free if you need to.
Heather's really good at multitasking. So as you can see, Heather Eison has become dark in the screen. That means she's accepted her role in my class, and we're ready to go forward. So go ahead, take a moment, and invite a colleague into your class.
Remember, you're not adding them as a teacher currently. You're adding them as a student.
Yes. So we'll give you about a few minutes to get that going.
And we'll check back in with you in about 3 minutes.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Again, if you have questions, you, of course, can ask us in the chat. And go back and watch this later if you need to go at a slower pace. Okay, so I just wanted to pause like a good teacher should. I want to direct you back to our board and look at the success criteria. So far, we've met the first one completely. We have created and individualized a new Google Classroom, made the name, description, subject, the header. So we're doing good so far. We have invited a student to our classroom. So excellent. Now we're going to talk about using the stream. And the stream is really just like a Facebook timeline, or what used to be called the wall, right? Mm-hmm. Many years ago. It's a stream of announcements, assignments, everything you post in there shows up on the stream for the students. It's kind of like the students' homepage and our homepage as well. So let's go ahead and look at my stream and do some stuff on it. So I'm back on my homepage, Brave New World class. I scroll down and I see this little dialog box. I can type in a message. This is my stream. I'm going to post a text announcement which says, be sure to have your Chromebook charged before you come to class tomorrow. So now I have that announcement to the class. I'm going to post it, and it's ready to go. Now, if I'm like, oh, I don't want my students to see that yet, I can go back in and edit it. And if I needed to change something, if I wanted to select, you know what, Heather doesn't need to see that because I know she does that. Really, this is aimed at Kelly because she always comes in with 10% battery.
Problem child.
I can add a document or a link or a file, YouTube video if I need to. But for now, I'll just do that.
Basically, just showing all of this stuff can be edited and deleted. So if you put something up you didn't mean to, or it's not how you want, don't panic. It can be removed or changed.
So to prove that, I'm going to delete this announcement. I'm going to do it again, but this time show you that I can schedule it. So I put it in there. And because I can choose which class it's going to, I have 3 classes. So if you're in secondary and you have 6 classes, you can differentiate what's going on there.
It also keeps you from having to go into each of your 6 classes.
That's right.
The same thing. So it's a time saver feature if you have more than one course. From the elementary side, if you were doing this, you may have a class. If you teach all 5 subjects, you may have Google Classroom for math, for ELA, that type of thing. So you can post to just the subjects you wanted it posted in or all at one time. It's the same type of concept.
And that might keep things visually clean for the younger students who are still learning how to navigate a computer.
Right.
So when I post this, I can post it. I can save it as a draft if I know I need to work on it later, or I can schedule it for when I want it to go out. So I'm going to have it go out tomorrow. No, not Saturday, Monday. And that's what I would be doing as I'm getting ready for my classes on Monday. I'll be scheduling my things for next week. So I'm going to schedule that.
Which is great because as teachers, we're always trying to use our time wisely.
Be
Sometimes I
ahead.
might only have 5 minutes, but I can go ahead and know that, I have enough time to go ahead and make this announcement while I have this random amount of time and go ahead and schedule it for later. So
Yep.
lots of flexibility with your classroom.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. So we also want to be able to post a document through the announcements. So I'll go ahead in here and see what I got to post. Now you can post a link to a website. You can upload a file from your desktop. You can link a YouTube video. But for now, I'm going to do a Google Drive file. Let's see what I have in my drive that I can upload here. Hey, I will upload this PowerPoint. Why not? So I want to make sure my students have access to my PowerPoint. I'll put in a message here. Here is the slideshow from today's lesson. And now students that it's in their IEPs or 504s or just in general want to have access to things like your notes sheets or your PowerPoints, you can put it on here in this way. Again, you can schedule, you can save it, you can post it. I'm going to post it.
From my elementary perspective, you could put your newsletters up here. You could post the spelling list for your class. That's an attachment that you already have on Drive, something like that. And they could be able to access it around your room. If they're working on a spelling activity, they could access it at home when they're like, oh, Mom, I don't have my spelling words. They have tools and different things you can use. So there's lots of variety. It's a great, cool tool for K-12.
Yeah. Okay. So our next thing is for you to try this yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start the timer about 3 minutes. Let us know if you have questions. We'll see you in about 3 minutes.
Happy posting.
Okay. So again, back to our success criteria. If I'm a teacher, I want to make sure my students and I are both on the same page in what we're trying to achieve. And what we had just achieved was manipulate the stream and add an announcement. So check, we got another success criteria mastered, or at least practiced.
Yeah.
Okay, now the meat of this application is uploading classwork in its various forms. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. First, though, we're going to make something called a topic. This is like a hashtag or a label, which can help you organize the different assignments, class
resources,
basically
quizzes. Organize your posts that you're making.
Yes, you can label them so they kind of all group together. And so let's go ahead and look at my classroom and see that happen. So I go to the top here. Here's my stream. I go to the top and I'm going to classwork. Now you'll notice I have this button create, and there's a lot of different things I can create, but I don't want to create anything until I've created my topics. So I can sort all of these things into different categories or topics. So my first topic, I'll do classwork. And maybe I'll make another topic, homework. Evil teachers giving homework. And I'm going to do one called Unit 1. No, you know what? Module 1 for our math people out there. Okay, so that's where we're at there. I have my topics made. Now you can reorder them for yourself. It doesn't really matter. You can delete them. You can rename them. You can move them down, move them up. All those kind of customizable things.
And that you can always edit what you called them. It's the same flexibility if something's not what you want. And you can always go back and add a new topic at any point. So don't panic if you can't think of, oh my gosh, all the different, I don't know how I want to organize this yet. This is just like a tab on your file folder in our traditional file cabinets, and we can adapt them as we need.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to create an assignment. And an assignment is exactly what it sounds like. You give a title to it. So I'm going to do speech to the second Virginia Convention. And I'm doing a training with English teachers at the high school tomorrow, so I'm just going to use all my material from that. And then I'm going to add my document to it. I could add I can add multiple things. So we'll look at that. I'll go to my Google Drive. And
you've done it recently, so it's happened to be in your recent files, but you can also go directly to your drive.
I might have to go to my drive, and it's really good to have an organized drive to have folders and stuff so you can find things easily.
You can also search in that tab at the top.
Yep.
To find what you need.
Good point. So I'm going to add in my file that goes along with my title. I do have a Google form that has some questions, and I'll add that too. There it is. So you can see for an assignment, you can have multiple things. This is like my text that they'll be reading. This could be like the textbook. And this is the worksheet that they answer questions about this. Now, what I find is super important is this little drop-down menu. You really need to make sure you identify which options you want to give your kid. Do you want them to see the file only? Do you want them all to be able to edit the same document? Or my preferred option, do you want to make a copy for each student? So when my student Heather clicks on this, Google will generate a whole new version of it just for her. And when Kelly clicks on this, Google will generate a whole new version of it just for her. It's the same as handing out worksheets in class to individual students.
The great thing about that feature too is when Drive generates it, they go ahead and add it. So like here, it would say Heather Eison speech to the Second Virginia Convention. So you have all of your students' names added directly to the top. No more nameless papers.
Ooh, that's perfect.
And then I say this. You'll notice on this bottom one, there's no option to make a copy for the students. This is because this is a Google form. It's sending it to them directly. So they naturally all have their own copy because it's a response form.
And the danger of having students can edit the file, you could have 20 kids all typing at the same time on the same document, causing chaos and confusion. Mm-hmm. Of course, we want to avoid that as much as possible when we're teaching. So now we go over here. You can choose which classes that you're adding this assignment to. You can choose which student. Now, Heather is my really good student. She doesn't need this extra work, but Kelly, she needs something to support. So I'm giving this to support her, some more practice. So Kelly, I'm going to assign it to you and not Heather. Or I can just do all my students. Now, you can set a due date or not have a due date. I'm going to set my due date to being next Friday. You can set a time. That doesn't really matter. And then the topic. Where is this going? Is this classwork or homework, or is it module 1? Well, I'm going to make this classwork.
And these are the topics that we just created together. It's not auto-generated by Google. So these are the ones we made. If I go, oh my gosh, you know what? I haven't thought about this yet. I can go right there and create a new topic name. Yeah, go for it.
Practice 1 is my new topic. So now I can schedule this assignment. I can save it and not post it anywhere yet if I'm still working on it, or I can discard it if I don't like it, or I can just assign it. So I'm going to assign it.
And don't worry if it takes a little time, depending on your file size, it may take a second to assign.
Miss Gates, you had a great question about points. I skipped over that. So I'm going to go back in and edit my document. So you can see here, there's points. You can make it ungraded, or you can change the points to whatever point value you would like. So hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for putting that in the chat.
Nice catch there. Thank you.
So then, since I updated it, I have to press save and update, and then my assignment will be ready to go. Now, in my classwork, I can also do a quiz. So the reason you know this is a quiz, it auto-generates a Google form called blank quiz here. And in a moment, we will click that and edit that form. But for now, I need a topic or a title. So I'm going to call this quiz 1 on key ideas and details, just so I know and my students know and my parents know what kind of topic or standards am I dealing with. Complete the quiz on the Google form. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click my blank quiz form. This will open up a new window where you will edit your quiz. Quiz 1, key ideas and details. I'm just going to have the same title.
Okay, so I'm going to make my question here based on the text. What is the author's key idea? Now I'll make my answer options. Apple, let's see, Spock, SpongeBob, and planning days. We all love those. So now I can come down here, I can make it multiple choice, I can make my answer key, Spock's the answer. I can determine how many points it's worth, so 1 point. And I want to make sure that this is a required question. I can copy this if need be, if I want a similar question type throughout the rest of my assessment.
So I will duplicate my question and change what do I want there. What's the author's purpose? And again, I have new options. Cheese. Hello. Titanic. And pickles. All right, so my answer for this one is going to be Titanic. And I'll make it required just like I did before. Oh, look, I have 2 answers there. I don't want 2 answers. I'll uncheck hello. You can also add different question types, and that'll be a short response. Prove your response to question 2. And then the student would type that out. So I am going to do that and make it required. And that's all I'll do for this sample. There's my quiz. It is worth 102 points. You can play around with your point values and all that kind of stuff. Plus, if you type a question, you're like, oh, I don't like that one, you can delete it.
And this is also not a full in-depth training on Google Forms. We are going to offer some shorter video snippets on how just to create these quizzes too. So don't panic if you're not totally comfortable or familiar with the creating Google Forms and quizzes. That'll be something with some short videos for you to be able to work on. And we're always here to help as well.
Absolutely. There's all these functions here. You can embed videos and pictures and all sorts of stuff in your questions. But for now, this is the basics. Now, here's the part that makes me nervous.
Mm-hmm. Me too. The first few times I did it.
The next thing you do is you literally just close this tab.
Nice thing is everything is saved in Drive.
Everything is saved.
But it's counterintuitive to close this window without hitting send or save or something.
But because you've made this, you accessed it through your classroom. So now I'm going to go back to my classroom. Okay, so I'm back on my quiz assignment page, and it still says blank quiz. I'm freaking out. Did I not save it? No, it's saved. We have to trust. It won't change to the title you've written until you assign it or you schedule it. So that's what we found out. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go ahead and assign this. You can also put on the lock mode. So when students are taking this, they can't go on any other websites. Mm-hmm. So that's a really useful tool, especially if they're at home. I can make my due date like before. I can choose my topic. So I'm going to call this module 1 since it's a quiz. I can assign my classes, assign my students. I'm going to have them all do this one, and I'm going to assign it. So now when I go to it, there's my module 1 quiz, key ideas and details. I'm going to click this, and there it is. It's no longer a blank quiz form. It is the one that I made. You can see I assigned it to 2 students. None of them have turned it in yet, which is okay. It's not due for a week or so. Heather, are you going to sign in and take my quiz?
I'm going to.
Live, guys, you're going to see what grade she gets.
No pressure.
So we'll go back to the PowerPoint here. While she's doing that, I'll go ahead and play this. Every slide has a video that takes you through all the steps we just did. The videos are without audio. It's just a visual guide to remind you of all these steps.
And while I'm checking it, this is actually a great time for them to go ahead and create a topic and create an assignment. So we're going to give you a little bit of work time for you to be able to go to your classwork page. Click on that blue create button to create your new topics. and try creating these assignments or this quiz.
We created a quiz. So now we're going to create materials. And these are like notes or uploading videos from YouTube or putting in your PowerPoint, those kind of resources. You can do that on the stream, but you can also do it on this dedicated materials tab. So I'm going back to classwork, going up to create, and I'm going to material. Looks the same. Hopefully now you're seeing and getting comfortable with the layout of how these things work. They're pretty intuitive. So I'm going to call this PowerPoint notes. And I'll add my PowerPoint. Oops, not a link, PowerPoint. From my Google Drive. Again, it's going to be in my recent because I recently used it. You can search, you can go in your drive, you can upload from your computer. And so I'm going to insert my PowerPoint. But so I'll do that one. I'm going to post it. I'll put it in my topics for module 1 because that's the unit I'm in. Post. But I want to do another one. I want to do a YouTube video. Why don't we show them that?
Sure.
Okay? We're going to be wild. All right. So I'm an English teacher, so I really want to work on paragraph transitions. And maybe I did a lesson in class, and so I want to provide this supplemental resource for my students. So I'm going to say, please watch the video to review the paragraph transitions we explored today. So I will go to add YouTube. This box will come up. You can copy in a YouTube link, or you can just search YouTube. Since I know my video is called Paragraph Transitions, because I've used it for years, I'm going to do that. And it's the first one that comes up, and I add. So
show them this time what happens if you click no topic. Say you forget to have.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't choose a topic. I forgot to do that. Yeah, and so I click post. It's a good point. So now you see I'm back on my classwork page, and you see my different topics: practice, module, homework, classwork. And under module, I have my PowerPoint notes. I have my quiz. Under practice, I have that text speech to the Second Virginia Convention. But my paragraph transitions is just kind of loose out here. That's fine. But if you wanted it to be in a topic, you can just literally drag and drop. So I'm going to put in module 1 because it's notes, or it's a resource that goes along with my module 1 or unit 1, whatever you want to call it. Cool. Now I do see my quiz. It's still assigned to 1, and 1 student turned it in.
Woo-hoo.
So let's go see who turned it in. Of course, Heather Eison did. And Kellie, Kellie, are you awake? Okay, she'll be awake later. Heather, she got an 80%. Because that's what you gave me last time. So haha.
Turnabout fair play.
Yep. So 80%. I could click it and look at her results and stuff like that, but we won't do that for the purposes of this. Again, this is not a Google Forms training. This is for classroom. So now I can return that to her. She'll be notified, and I can give a note. I can see that you have made great progress. I'm so excited to support you further. Something like that. Is that supportive, Heather? Are you going to be okay? No crying with the 80?
Yeah, no,
okay.
good.
So now I can go back to my instructions, check everything's good still. Good. So I'm going to go back, and why don't we try uploading a material? Do we want to do that?
That's where we're heading next.
Note that I couldn't do the assignment because I did not have a Chromebook.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Kellie did log in.
Kellie had a great point. We have to give her some credit because I clicked on my assignment. So I'm going to go back and edit. Because I clicked locked mode on Chromebooks, this made it so that you can only take this quiz if you are on a Chromebook. and Kelly is on a desktop. Therefore, she could not access it. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to do something and one of your students is on a desktop in your classroom. They will not be able to access anything that has this feature clicked on. Obviously, if they're at home and they're working at home, they'll be on a Chromebook most likely. Or if you're locking it to being only on Chromebooks and they don't have a Chromebook at home, that means they won't be taking your quizzes when they're not with you. So that's something to keep in mind. Thank you, Kelly, for being our example there. All right, so now why don't we take a moment, give you guys a chance to upload a material, and then we'll keep on going. We're moving along. All right, everyone. Hopefully you got to play with that a little bit more. And now that you've made an assignment, a quiz, and materials, they're all kind of the same process. You should be starting to get a little more comfortable. But now let's take a moment, pause, and see what we've learned and where we're going. We have done our first success criteria. We have invited a student. We have put an announcement in the stream. We have looked at the classwork, made a topic or two, made materials, an assignment, a quiz. You know, it's not in my PowerPoint, but I do want to do a question. Let's do a question. So I'll take us back to my Google Classroom. And a question is like a bell ringer. It could be something you're in class and
It's a quick pulse.
It's a quick pulse. Yeah, you can get your kids' ideas real quickly. So I'm going to make my question. Which is the best? And I can make it multiple choice. I can make it short answer. For this, I'll just make a short answer. And it's such an abstract question. Heather's going to be having fun answering that. I can make it worth points, so it can be an assignment. I can make it ungraded. I can make a due date, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put it in module. I'm going to put it in classwork because this seems like a classwork kind of thing, wouldn't you say? You can make it if students want to discuss with each other. You can make that option available. You can make it so that students can edit their answer after they've already given it. Lots of options here. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. Now for the student, I believe the question, does it show up on the stream? I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to my stream. And yes, you can see it right at the top there, which is best. And if I click on that, I can see it's been assigned to 2 people. And let's see, Heather's going to respond. Maybe Kelly will. So give them a minute to respond. All right. So I'm going to click that and maybe I need to refresh my screen for me to see her answer. Yes, so one person turned it in. Look, it's Heather again, and she said avocados, of course. Heather, Kelly, you're just kind of, I got a call. I need to do a parent phone call.
She said she's there, refresh. She said she.
Oh, she's there? Okay, I'm refreshing. She needs extended time. You just have a blank answer. Is that the same as IDK? Or IDC. All right, so we go ahead. I have that information. I can see what my kids are giving me. And I can actually do a reply to and talk to Heather. Okay.
Oh, I can see. Oh, you comment this thing. Kelly, you commented directly on the question in the class comment.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Instead of typing your answer on the. That's a good differentiation because at first time I responded to, I typed in the class comment box as opposed to the answer box.
Oh, so Kelly, yours is going to be on the stream.
Yes.
Okay.
So Kelly's answer is going to be on the stream. That's why it's blank here. Your students will have to.
When students pull it up, you're going to see the question.
Let's go ahead and we're going to send you to Heather's screen so you can see what students see in this situation. All right. So talk us through it, Heather.
Okay. So I went to my stream, clicked on Mr. Chaplin posted a question, which is the best came up. So Kelly actually posted it here. When this first came up, I was able to, over here, it says my answer. This was all blank. It let me type in right here, and then it let me hit turn in. So this is for us to comment like on a social media feed directly to turn it in. They'll be using the box to the right. So there will be a little bit of a differentiation and learning curve with that because we both just did it here.
And there's also an option for students, if they have a question they don't want to have out there for everyone, they can do a private comment to just you, the teacher, and the teacher can respond privately as well. So that's that's really helpful when we're trying to maintain privacy for our students.
And Kelly responded to my answer of avocados, of course. And you can see on my screen here, my classmate responded, I respectfully disagree.
So obviously you have to teach your students some etiquette when communicating in this format, not to overload it and to be respectful with their language choice.
And it's just this quick pulse. If you have something you really want to see, there you go. So it's just another option.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it has to be used, but you are able to do so. All right, Chris, you want to take it back over?
Sure. Okay, so I'm back on my classroom. We've seen how to do the question.
And it showed up in your screen.
And there it is. I can see one class comment. That was Kellie's when she commented directly on the stream post instead of clicking it and going.
And it's fine if kids respond that way.
Yeah, I love that we have all these options. So now our next thing that we're going to talk about is grades. So coming soon, eventually, your Google Classroom grades will be synced with Focus. It's not quite set up yet, but that will be an option coming up later.
Be able to right into your gradebook.
But we did want to go onto my classroom and show you the grade tab. So here we go. You can see my assignments and my question and how people did. Now, I didn't grade the comments yet, and really, they were great comments. Avocado, who, if you like that green mush, go for it. And Kelly had some snark, so I will give her a 100 as well. Now, no one has taken my speech yet because it hasn't been assigned to them yet. I mean, it's been scheduled for a later date. So there's that.
You'll be able to see who's turned it in on your left, what's graded. You'll be able to click in. If you upload different documents besides a quiz, you can look at students' responses in different Google Docs.
You can
ways
sort them.
Sort them. And we'll be able to give you some more detailed snippet videos too on that process as well, but you're able to just see the functions in there. Now, what you're not seeing is the quiz responses right here. That's because you'll be going to your Google form responses through your Google Drive, and then you'll be able to just, like you were hand grading a worksheet on the Google form, you would just input this in like you were in your gradebook, and we'll have a more detailed video. Really, that's not what you need to worry about right now. Right now, just get it up and going, and then we can work on the grading side in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. So why don't you take a moment, make a question. We'll give a really short period for you to practice this here. Make a question, and then we'll be back.
And you can take a look at your grades tab if you want. You should see any assignments you've created or assigned showing up for your demo class.
And I don't think we have a timer for this one, so we'll hang out for a minute, and we'll be back in a few minutes after these messages. And we're back. So now we're going to take a moment and move over to Heather's screen. She's looking at my class from the eyes of a student, and we're just going to give you a quick look at what can she see? What are the functions on her end?
Okay, so you are now seeing my view as a student in Mr. Chaplin's Brave New World class. You'll notice it looks very similar to the teacher view. You will not see a grades tab because that's just the teacher's feature up here. But as you can see, we're looking through here. You can see everything we've done. We watched us practice posting the slideshow, the assignment, everything that you're creating in classwork shows in my feed, so I'm seeing them. Over here, I've already completed the question and the quiz he gave me, so I don't have any due dates. If I had left it unanswered, incomplete, it would show me, don't forget, this is due by Monday at 8 a.m. I can also, as a student, directly share something with your class. We can make a post here as a student. What's up, guys? So this is a great opportunity, like Mr. Chaplin said, about digital etiquette and expectations for your digital classroom environment, just like you would in your classroom.
And that might be something you do the first week of school to get students aware of your expectations in your physical classroom as well as your virtual classroom. There should be clear expectations both. In fact, one of your first posts might want to be expectations or rules for the virtual classroom.
You could decide, hey, this is something off limits to my class. I don't want you guys to be posting here. I want to keep it streamlined. Or it could be, this might be a great opportunity for students to collaborate. I don't remember. Can someone remind me which page for homework was tonight? They have those options, but you can decide what fits best for you. When I go to my classwork tab back up top, just like in the teacher view, I'm going to see the same things Mr. Chaplin has made. What you'll notice is I don't see a homework category on my screen. But I know Mr. Chaplin just sat here a minute ago and made it. I'm the teacher.
Heather, that's because I didn't assign you homework yet because I'm the best.
You are the best. Favorite teacher ever. What that means from that side is because Chris didn't create it as the teacher and assign anything to that topic, it doesn't show on the student version yet to keep it less cluttered. So you can create all the topics you think you may be needing, and it will not show until it is live and posted. Let's see. So I'm able to go into any of these, how I answered these questions. I'm able to view my assignment. I can see his materials. Everything we posted is very similar to your view. I can also see my classmate and message them if I would need to. I can message my teacher directly. So it's very similar to yours that we're seeing as a teacher view, but that's their view.
Our next topic is we're going to briefly touch on Google Meets. So if you want to record your meeting, you would press, it says record there. Right now it says stop recording.
The nice thing about your recording too is it'll be automatically emailed to you at the end. It also emails a transcript of the chat. So you can reference any questions they had that you may have missed along the way. It's also going to be great for those students that are kind of playing in the background while you're working, messaging each other. You'll also get access to that information as well.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you can go to full screen. You can change the organization of the screen if you have your full class and you want to see all of them in a grid. That's useful. Down here is where you'll be doing your presenting if you want to switch to a PowerPoint. Right now, I don't have other options because I am presenting, but you can choose to present different tabs or your full screen. I'm doing my full screen right now because it looks like there was some kind of issue. You can turn on captions.
If you try turning on captions, it is auto-generated by the system, so it won't catch everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were viewing this not from me in the presentation screen, it does close caption and follow along with what you're saying. So it's a slight delay so you can see it. So if you do have students that need that feature, that is an option.
Yeah, I think that's...
I mean, it's AI, it's artificial intelligence. And me, I talk really fast, so it's probably not catching things correctly.
It'd probably slow you down, though.
It might. I might need to use that more often. You do have that option, too. So just another feature for that. Or a student that can't hear the sound because of issues with their mic, they have options.
All right, so we've done the Google Meets. And again, this video here is just another quick video representation of what you should do to get into Google Meets. But how do you get your students to go to a Google Meet session from your classroom? That's really important. So I want to go ahead and show you how to do that. You're going to go to Google Meets. You're going to go to your Google Classroom to generate a Meet. Oh, right. So now we're back to my classroom. And in my header, you can see as the teacher, it says, generate Meet link. This is what you have to do to create a link for your students to join the Meet. So I'm going to go ahead and click generate Meet link, and then that button here as well. There is an option down here that says visible to students. Right now, if I press this button, it will not be visible to students, which is good. We only want the Meet link to be visible to students when you intend them to be together on a Meet. You don't want it always available for them, so 12 midnight, they can get on together and chat without your supervision.
And it does show when you turn it on and off, it does show in the same part, like you can see on our header right here. Not that I can't see me pointing at the screen, sorry. Their Meet link will show up there. And my student view, I'm looking at it on my screen that you can't see right now. And all it says is Brave New World 000.
So now I've generated the link and I can see the link there. I've also made it visible to students so Heather can see it on her page. It looks exactly the same, just minus the class code. But let's say, and I know it's visible because it has that little dialog bubble there with the camera icon in it. That means it's live for students to click and go to. I can highlight this link, and if I want to email it to a student, if they need some one-on-one help with me, I can do that. But I will go to the settings, which is that little gear in the corner. And this is where I can access the Google Meet settings as well and make it visible or invisible to students. So like I said, I highly recommend you only make it visible to students. You have this checked on if you are actually going to be hosting a Meet.
So if you had posted your announcement, please join me live at 3:30 today, then I would turn it on probably about 3:25 when I've logged in.
Yeah. So that's really important. You want to be always in charge of what's happening online with your students, especially in some kind of social setting.
One thing I did want to point out while we're on this header, you're going to see a class code up here as well. This is another way you can invite your students. We hadn't done that part earlier. We just showed you the email option to invite your students specifically, but there also is this course code that you can do with your students sitting live in front of you. So when they go to their Google Classroom, that little plus sign where we hit create class, they would click join class and they would type in this code. So this may be very helpful for some of you if you decide, hey, I really don't want to put all these students' names in yet while I'm populating this class, or I'm not sure if my role is going to stabilize yet. I'm ready. You want to wait till Monday. You could put this up on your screen on Monday and students live with you could join the code class right then and they would populate in your class as well.
And Heather, that's a really good point to think about, because roles are going to be shifting so much in this time. It might be good to do this option live with your students in person. And then when we know who is doing digital, we can send them the emails in that way. Let's look at some additional resources. We have given you a lot today, a lot to digest, but we wanted to give you some more that you can explore on your own. So these tiles all linked to different resources. We highly recommend Google's little tutorial. They take you through their own product. There's also a great blog/podcast called Shake Up Learning, who has a lot of information on Google Classroom. And then I've provided this Google Classroom form tutorial from YouTube. So those are those resources for you. When you get this PowerPoint later this week or by Monday, you'll be able to click on them and check out those resources.
And you can also do your own Google searches if you need the information for it. Then there's tons of resources through Google themselves for teacher support, as well as different teachers and technology coaches at different districts that have posted videos to help you as well.
Yeah. So to review, our target today was to get teachers to navigate Google Classroom's basic functions to facilitate clear communication of students in a face-to-face or a virtual learning situation. And hopefully that we've done that for you, that your confidence has risen a little bit with this platform. Let's go over our success criteria. We have individualized your classroom. We have navigated the different teacher tabs, stream, classwork, people, grades. We've made announcements in the stream. We've invited a colleague as a student into our classroom. We've made topics, materials, assignments, questions, and quizzes. And we have talked about Google Meets. I don't know about you. That was a lot of work. I'm tired. But as a reminder, when you get this PowerPoint and you're like, oh, darn it, I forget how to use the stream, you can click this little button that'll take you to that direct slide, which has a video that takes you through just that step.
And these videos intentionally do not have audio. It's just meant as a visual reminder. So if you're viewing this later or watching it now live and going, I'm not hearing anything, there is no audio on these videos. It's just a quick reminder of the visual and how to go through the steps.
But the videos come with the step-by-step little description as well. Do you have any questions? If you do, put them in the chat. We're going to stay on until 3-ish, 2:45, 3 o'clock. We'll just be here. You can post questions. You can ask questions. All of our email is right here on the screen, so please feel free to email us at any time. And if you would, to help us to become better servants for you in the future, this is just the second time we're doing this. So if you could hold your phone up to the screen and with your camera app, go ahead and take the little survey that's in that QR code. We would greatly appreciate your feedback on our work today, serving you as we look at Google Classroom and Google Meets. So we'll be online, available to answer any questions. Type them in the chat as needed. But if not, it's been a pleasure to have you as we've all been exploring this new world of virtual teaching.